Part 2. The stories of South Carolina run like rivers. Our names. In South Carolina, we become the grandchildren, Gunner's three little ones, Sister Irby's grands, Mary Ann's babies. And when we are called by our names, my grandmother makes them all one. Hopedale Jackie! But my grandfather takes his sweet time saying each as if he has all day long, or a whole lifetime. Ohio behind us. When we ask our mother how long we'll be here, sometimes she says for a while, and sometimes she tells us not to ask anymore because she doesn't know how long we'll stay in the house where she grew up, on the land she's always known. When we ask, she tells us this is where she used to belong. But her sister Caroline, our Aunt Kay, has moved to the north. Her brother Odell is dead now, and our baby brother Robert says he's almost saved enough money to follow Caroline to New York City. Maybe I should go up there too, my mother says. Everyone else, she says, has a new place to be now. Everyone else has gone away. And now, coming back home isn't really coming back home at all. The garden. Each spring, the dark Nickeltown dirt is filled with the promise of what the earth can give back to you if you work the land, plant the seeds, pull the weeds. My Southern grandfather missed slavery by one generation. His grandfather had been owned. His father worked the land from dawn till dusk for the promise of cotton and a little pay. So this is what he believed: in your hands in the cool dirt until the earth gives back to you all that you've asked of it. Sweet peas and collards, green peppers and kooks, lettuce and melon, berries and peaches, and one day, when I'm able, my grandfather says, I'm going to figure out how to grow myself a pecan tree. God gives you what you need, my grandmother says, but not to ask for more than that. My grandfather says, and goes back to working the land, pulling from it all we need, and more than that. Gunner's children. At dusk, just as the fireflies flicker, my grandfather makes his way home. We see him coming down the road, his silver lunchbox bouncing soft against his leg. Now, as he gets closer, we hear him singing, Where will the wedding supper be? Way down yonder in a hollow tree? Good evening, Miss Clara. Evening, Miss May. How's that leg, Miss Bell? What you cooking, Auntie Charlotte? You thinking of making me something to eat? His voice ringing down Hall Street, circling around the roads of Nickeltown, and maybe out into the big wide world. Maybe all the way up in New York, Aunt Kay's hearing it and thinking about coming on home. Then he's close enough to run to, the three of us climbing him like a tree until he laughs out loud. We call him Daddy. This is what our mother calls him. This is all we know now. Our Daddy seems taller than anyone else in all of Greenville, more handsome too. His square jaw and light brown eyes so different from our own narrow-faced, dark-eyed selves. Still, his hand is warm and strong around my own as I skip beside him, the wind blowing up around us. He says, Y'all are Gunner's children. Just keep remembering that. Just keep remembering. This is the way of Nickeltown evenings. Daddy coming home, me jumping into his arms, the others circling around him, all of us grinning, all of us talking, all of us loving him up